All right, my next guest had a round 3 TKO win at Ammo 10 Battle of St. Patrick's. And of course, it is Anthony Basile on the show. Anthony, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. And your fight, for my money, I think it could have been fight of the night. You guys were going back and forth, and you had such a large amount of support in the arena that night. Did you expect Alex to be as tough as he was?
Yes, sir. I think that anytime I step in the cage, I always try to think that my opponent trained harder than me and worked harder than me and has a higher skill set, just so that I don't underestimate anybody. But again, hats off to him because he was extremely tough and I knew he was a strong grappler. So we went in with a game plan and we executed it and we got the job done.
And you really seem to control the fight throughout. Did you ever get frustrated? Like, what do I got to do to put this guy away?
Yeah, yeah. There was times like when I would get some shots on the ground where I'm like, man, I'm connecting with these and he's still fighting back and still moving well and but I just had to stick to the game plan. My coach Mark Alvin, he's been stressing this whole camp, just pressure, staying tight, taking the wind from him. Anytime we're on the ground, take the pressure and bring it right to him. So over time, it did pay off, and we got it done.
So I always get fascinated to talk to fighters, in fight adjustments. You just mentioned, what your coach was saying. Is that specifically what they were telling you throughout the fight to adjust and let's follow their critiques to get the win here?
Yeah, the guys in my corner, they were providing me with adjustments to make the entire time, both rounds. My first fight, I only had the one round, so I didn't really get an experience to feel in between rounds. But this time around, they were coaching me up, making these adjustments. Little things like once I get the takedown, if he's going to hang on to the guillotine and try to recover that, what I need to do. And I was taking all that in as best I could and trying to adjust it throughout.
So run us through the finish for anybody that didn't get to see it or wasn't there. Tell us how you ended up getting the victory here in the third round.
Yeah, I think I could tell that we were both. It was third round. We're both kind of getting tired, but I knew I trusted my cardio and I executed a takedown, which led to a little scramble, and I got to his back. My grip strength started to go, so I knew I wasn't going to really try for a choke. I needed to finish my hands, and so I landed a big knee when he was in a turtle position. I threw a knee, and I knew it bothered him, so I knew he was going to get up and get out of there. So I kind of baited him, and once he stood up, I was able to land a big overhand right, which put him right down. And then from there, I just threw everything I could at him to get the finish.
And as I mentioned earlier, with the energy, the electricity that was in the Mallory building at the Big E, I mean, everyone, I don't know that I've ever been to a regional event where everyone was as hyped as they were there that night. It was absolutely crazy. What was that feeling like for you when you ultimately got to finish and you got your hand raised?
It's something that words I don't even think could explain. I've had some big moments from an athletic standpoint in my life, and between the first fight and this second fight, and just the amount of energy and like it's true support. These people genuinely care for me, so they want to see me succeed. They're not just there to see me fight or see violence or whatever the case is. They're all there in support of me, and I couldn't put the words to thank each person properly because it does mean the world to me.
I have to ask too, and everything kind of blends together right now with everything that transpired that night. But when the big incident that happened in the crowd, was that before or after your fight? And did that affect you one way or another while you were there?
No, it actually it happened before my fight. I was back in the locker room warming up with my training partner Rowan and my coaches, and somebody walking by had said, there was an incident in the crowd, and my first thought was like it was either my older brother or one of my military buddies. So I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me, guys, come on. But luckily, it was nobody from my crew. Everybody was on their best behavior, and they were there in support of me. So it didn't affect me much. At first I was just like, come on, man. And then once I found out it wasn't my crew, I was pleased.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure moving forward, maybe there'll be a little bit more beefed up security to make sure nothing like that happens. But you get people for an MMA event regionally, you get some alcohol involved. Things tend to
Yeah.
happen from time to time. One thing that I feel like had to have affected you in some capacity is how cold it was in the building. I mean, you're in there, your blood's pumping, your adrenaline's going through the roof, but it was cold, man. Like, did that affect you at all? Even like warming up, just trying to stay like at a level where you're going to be, exerting a lot of energy.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely did in the beginning. I went in, I was wearing just my sweatshirt and shorts in there, just because I knew I'd be warming up and rolling around. And luckily, like, I was freezing, and so my training partner, he just kept staying on me, like, "Hey, throw your sweatshirt back on, stay warm." Rowan, he's been with me every day of this camp. He hasn't missed a day, so he was back there, and he really stayed on me to keep my sweatshirt and my sweatpants on, build up a really good sweat, so that once we do step out there, and we knew it was going to be cold because it was cold in the locker room too, but much colder in the open air, and luckily it didn't play too much into factor, just because I did build up a good sweat, and I was warmed up for it.
How did you celebrate the victory, and how many tickets did you sell? Like, how many people were there generally to support you that night?
I'm not certain the total number. I know it must have been well over 100. And then like my one of my buddies, he bought like 3 tables, and all of our crew kind of came out on the tables, and a bunch of tickets sold. And so I'm not sure the total number, but afterwards we all went out, we had some food, and we shared some drinks and some laughs, and it's just it's that's the most important part for me after the fight, is to make sure that I can thank everybody appropriately, because again, they'll never understand how grateful I am. So I want to show as best as I can.
Yeah, very well said. And I do have to address a topic that is very difficult, and I'm sure you probably know where I'm going with this, but a fighter that competed on that very card, Christian Lubenga, passed away recently. We just got the news yesterday. I talked to Bill Vigil, and I mean, it goes without saying that this is a tragedy. I don't really know what to say other than, I'm so sorry to hear about it, to his family and friends. Did you see him at all post fight, like when he was backstage? Because I understood that there was an issue with the ambulance. Like, did any inside info that you saw that was going on?
No, sir. I mean, I have I didn't even have any knowledge of the incident. Just that, somebody came back and said they were pausing the fights until an ambulance could come replace the previous ambulance. But I didn't get to see him, or learn of anything that had happened until after the fact. And just like you said, it's freaking heartbreaking stuff. It's no, it's the worst thing you could imagine. And I just, my heart goes out to his family, and I said a prayer for him afterwards, and it's just terrible to nobody wants to see that, nobody wants that to happen. It's breaks your heart.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I really don't know what else to say other than my sincerest condolences. Prayers go out to the Lubenga family. As far as your career goes, you clearly have a wrestling background. I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Just watching you in there fighting. Tell me how you got into MMA and just your background in general in combat sports.
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do. I remember when I was a kid watching the Ultimate Fighter TV show with my father, and my father's a big fan, and it's something that I knew was a possibility for me. I had all the weapons to do this, and as long as I really applied myself, but the timing was just never really good. And then I decided, if I don't do it now, then I'm gonna regret it for the rest of my life. And being that I have a wrestling background, you know, it, the grappling part I really enjoy. It was just I needed to learn how to use my hands in a fight. And Marco Evans he's been training me since I started. It's my gym from day one. So I've learned everything I've learned has come from him and the guys in the gym. But it was really cool. I had all my youth wrestling coaches in the building, the guys that were coaching me since I was, in kindergarten, first grade. And, my high school coach was nothing but supportive. Everybody kind of that helped me grow as a wrestler is now helping me grow as a fighter too. So it's special to me to come from a wrestling background and have those people with me.
Did you have any fighters that you looked up to and kind of idolized when you were, a little bit younger? I mean, there must be someone that's maybe like your favorite fighter in the UFC.
Yeah, my first favorite fighter of all time was Forrest Griffin. And then it kind of transitioned to the Diaz brothers. Man, those guys, there's just something about them, the way they hold themselves to this standard, and they just don't care about anything. They're just there to scrap, and I think that's kind of a cool way to represent yourself. I'm just a big fan of the Diaz brothers.
Yeah, I've actually met Nate twice, and I can tell you he's a really cool guy. Really cool guy. I like him a lot.
I could tell you, I like the shirt hanging up in the back. You know, it's that the two of them, they just seem like great guys and even better fighters, obviously. You know.
Yeah, no doubt. I was talking to my commentating partner there, Greg Williams, about who you resembled, and it's another guy out there on the West Coast. He's a little bit newer of a fighter. Do you know who the Kosi brothers are? They just fought on the Contender Series.
Kosi bros. I don't think I'm familiar.
Yeah, so Orion Kosi, he's a UFC welterweight. So you have to go out and look him up. You just resemble him a little bit. So I mean it as a compliment. But as far as your future goes, you're 2-0 now as an amateur. I have to imagine you want to rack up together a few more wins and then maybe go pro. What is your game plan as far as that goes moving forward?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's the goal. The goal is to eventually reach that pro level, and but timing is everything, and I don't want to rush into anything. Again, I'm in this game for the long haul, so for me, it's not so much just jumping pro, getting a few fights, losing and retiring, be done. I want to be successful, and to do that, I have to really master this craft, and I think I'm in the right place to do that too. Coach Marco has he's been doing this a long time, and he knows exactly what it takes to get to that highest level, and he knows what it takes for me to bring myself to that level. So essentially, I trust him and his judgment, and I know that he'll steer me in the right direction, and then all I have to do is put the work in, and we'll see the results as they come.
So if I'm not mistaken, your two amateur fights were at 140 and 150. What is your weight class? Do you feel like you want to stick at here moving forward?
I'm still trying to see where I'm comfortable at with the weight cut, and where I'll be able to maintain. So we were testing the waters around. I feel good at 145. Um, one 135 won't be out of the question down the road, maybe if I can walk around lighter and get on a proper diet. But as far as right now, I think I'm comfortable at 145, and I think I compete well at that weight class. So I think we'll stick around there for a little bit, but again, it's a conversation I have to have with my team, and make a decision with them.
What's the heaviest you get? Like if you're out of camp and you're eating whatever you want, like what you step on the scale, are you north of 170?
It depends on the time of year and holiday season, but yeah, it fluctuates. I get up around and lower, so I have been, but
Okay.
yeah, it depends on the time of year, and
Sounds good. So, what is next for you as far as a time frame for your next fight? And is there an opponent that you'd like to match up with? I was talking with someone, Brett Casey, recently, and he actually had nothing but respect for you. He was just saying he wanted to test himself against you because you're well known, he's well known in that area, and it would be an exciting fight for the fans. Does that interest you? Do you feel like that makes sense?
yeah, absolutely. Right now, I've got to explore something career wise. But depending on that, we'll base our next move. But I definitely do. I will be fighting again this year. That's almost certain. And yeah, Brett's a tough dude, and I didn't even hear the call out. My buddies told me after the fact, and I thought it was pretty cool. Getting excitement in the building, and it's definitely a fight I'd like to entertain. I think he's a tough kid. We're both from the Springfield area, so that would be a hometown show that people want to see, and I'd never stray away from a fight. So I'm sure that our paths will cross eventually for down the road.
Man, if that does happen, if that fight comes to fruition, the energy in that building, wherever it is going to be insane. I think the roof is going to come off when you two go step in the cage together. Well, listen, Anthony, congrats on the win, man. Very, very impressive. I feel like Alex Graffagnino really is a tough guy. So this is a feather in your cap to go out there and finish him because he came to fight and you looked very, very good in there. So congrats on that, man. Again, round 3 TKO victory, ammo 10, Battle of St. Patrick's. Before I do let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, any sponsors, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I gotta look here. I don't know exactly my tag here on Instagram, but if you guys, yeah, it's Anthony _Basile_ on my Instagram. You guys can give me a follow, and No sponsors yet, but I would like to thank everybody that came out, and everybody that's going to watch this from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. All that support is it's what I base every fight on. I don't want to let you guys down. So thank you again. And lastly, again, thank you to Alex for stepping in the cage. Um, just a battle of warriors, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. I know he's going to have a very long and bright career ahead of him. So best of luck to him in his future fights.